Hey everyone, my name is Cody, and welcome to another Spin Squad video. So I want to go over a list today with you. This list I placed second with at a local league challenge. It's a lot of fun. I think Chein-Pao is maybe a little bit above mid, but it's a lot of fun, especially for best of one. I think it's a good deck that you can roll with, and I recommend it. Not a lot of people seem to be playing it, at my locals at least. The list started off from Grant Manley at Poke Beach. The difference I made was I removed a water and added another lost vacuum. I may make a few more adjustments, but we'll see. The reason for that change was that I've encountered that Path is my biggest concern. When Path gets laid down, it shuts off Chein-Pao, it shuts off Greninja, which are two of my biggest draw engines. So I really need those. So with the Lost Vacuum, the hopes is that I have another way of possibly discarding Path and also giving me an option to remove maybe a Bravery Charm or something else if needed. The league challenge was 4 rounds, best of 1, and I wanted to go over the matches I had and what happened. They were fun matches. The first match was against a Lost Tina, and of course they started off with a Path, so I started out slow, but luckily for me they started out slow as well, and I played Iona on them my turn 1 and my turn 2. So that helped me stop their progress a little bit while also trying to find a skate park or a lost vacuum. I did not find a skate park or a lost vacuum off either Iona, but by my third turn, I did top deck the skaters park. And when that happened, it just opened the floodgates up for me. I got a boss's order from the second Iona I played, so I played that skaters park down. I had boss's orders in my hand. I bossed up their Giratina. And then with Chein-Pao, I was able to grab 2 more energies. My back's caliber was already rolling, so I got lucky with a rare candy in the backs during the Ionos. So I was cooking at that point. I took out the Giratina. I started charging them more. They were doing what they needed to do to set up. They got another Giratina on the field, and I happened to get another boss, and I bossed up that Giratina and knocked it out as well. So I just stayed up on the prizes and just pushed hard. Once I got going, it was good. It's probably the Ionos that saved me. It stopped their progress twice in a row. So the second match was against a Guardy. This matchup was rough. I started out with my Chein-Pao in the active, so I thought it was going to be a good match. And then I played Battle of VIP Pass and realized right off the bat that I prized 2 out of 3 of my Frigibaxes. And against Guardy, that is terrible for it to happen. So I played the one and did my turn, passed it, and of course, their turn, they Cresselia'd me and got rid of that Frigibax. My next turn came up, I top deck a Heavy Ball. I was able to play it, I grabbed the Frigibax out and played it back on the field, and then I returned the knockout on the Cresselia because I hand attached to Chein-Pao turn 1, and then I just hand attached to Chein-Pao the second turn, and got the knockout on Cresselia. After that happened, they ended up bossing up my Frigibax and knocking out their next turn. Luckily, when I knocked out the Cresselia, I did end up pulling my third Frigibax in the prizes. I played it, and I was able to eventually get it evolved. But by that point, I started out so slow that I just could not catch up on prizes from them, and they were just pushing hard. And I did get a skaters park down at one point, which I thought was going to help me hopefully sway the table a little bit, because they had most of their energy attached to one of the Gardevoirs already, and if they retreated, it would have went to their hand, not into their discard, so they couldn't just reattach it right off the bat. They'd have to discard it somehow. But they had a worker, and they played worker and discarded the stadium and drew cards, so at that point it was over. It is what it is, and it was fun. Game 3 was against a Arc Umbreon. I'm not sure if they had Dura or not. They started out with Umbreon in the active, and then their turn 1, they switched and played I think it was a single energy on their Arceus, and then I went second, so I got everything going. My Chein-Pao in the active, Frigibax, Greninja on the bench, everything. Then after my turn was over, I passed it over to them, and they double turboed, but they could not get the Arceus V-Star out, so all they did was Trinity charge up the Umbreon, and at that point, I knew that I had a good chance when they didn't play the V-Star, because they did not have anything else on the bench besides that Umbreon, and all they had was the Arceus in the active. So they were bricking at that point. So I got my Baxcalibur evolved with the next turn, knocked out that Arceus, they promoted the Umbreon, and after they drew, they looked at their hand and they scooped it. I think they realized that maybe they couldn't get another Pokemon on their bench, or it was just too far gone at that point. I was already going, and they were starting out too slow. If they would have played an Arceus at that point, I probably could have bossed it up and took it out before they could actually use the V-Star. And then game 4 was against a Lost Turbo. This was a lot of fun. They had one difference in it where they had a Luxray instead of Raikou in it. The Luxray from, I think, Paldea, where if you are down on prizes, you can play from your hand to your bench. It was a good move against me because usually when I'm playing Lost Box, I like to use my Palkia to attack their Comfies because then it forces me to get Raikou up there if it's not prized and attack me to knock me out, or they have to get a Dragonite up there with the Choice Belt to knock it out. For him, he was able to get the Luxray on the field after that happened, charge it up and knock me out, so the exchange wasn't in my favor because that's a single prize against a 2-prizer. So that didn't work out well, but I owned them, I think, maybe 3 times during that match. And in the end, it came down to each of us had 1 prize left. I had Baxcalibur, attacked their, I think it was a Comfy, knocked it out. They had Dragonite on the bench, and they had a Comfy in the active, and they had to get a way to get the 3 energy on the Dragonite in order to get it into the active and take the return knock on the Baxcalibur to win the game. Before that happened though, I did Iono them down to 1 card, so they started that turn out with 1 card in their hand. They did really well. They got a Mirage Gate, they got 2 energy on Dragonite, but they were not able to get that 3rd energy, so I was able to take the knockout and win the game. It was a really good match and had a lot of fun on that one, and it came right down to the wire. And once again, just like game 1, I think Iono was the reason why I ended up, escaping out of that one, but that's why I play 4 Ionos in this deck. It's good. It helps a lot with the matchups. So if you get a chance, I recommend you try this deck out. It is a lot of fun. Maybe make a few adjustments. I have considered adding maybe another Baxcalibur to it, but in reality, my matches, I have not had my Baxcalibur prized yet somehow. So that has not been a concern. I have prized a Palkia V-Star, which has sucked sometimes, because usually I can use that by turn 2 if I need to take like a 300 hit knockout by bringing 3 energy out of the discard and then my Chein-Pao in 2, and then I get 5 energy on the field right there off the bat. But I don't know. I don't want to make any adjustments this year. I want to play a few more rounds, see how they go. It is a lot of fun to play, and I recommend you give it a try. Have a good one.